Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Gio and Joey Show. This episode will be very brief, but we wanted to share this because this is concerning. And if you're a parent, you need to stay on top of your kids' social media, TikTok especially, because there's a lot of predators on there, and YouTube, because sometimes, as Joey shared in a previous episode, there are sometimes adults who jump into kids' channels or kids' algorithm to persuade them from your authority. Joey, cue us up. By the way, how you doing? Cue us up as to what we're going to be
Okay.
watching.
So this video, I definitely would. I'd recommend parents watch this video. And this is a person. His name is Jeffrey Marsh. He calls himself non-binary. But what I find most concerning is he's a social media influencer who specifically, and not in the video we're gonna watch, right? But I've seen videos where he specifically will talk about what kind of audience he's cultivating, and he's cultivating an audience of young people. He says queer youth, but ultimately he's looking for youth that feel like that they have some confusion about their gender, their sexuality, and their parents just don't understand them. Which I don't know about you, but your parents not understanding you, that's a pretty normal kid thing, right? So in other words, that's not something you need to distance yourself from them, right? But when you have people, well, we'll play the video and then I'll give you my thoughts on it. But
Okay, let's jump right in.
If you are attempting to figure out if you want to go no contact, let me give you a tip. Go no contact first before you figured it out. If you tell your mother, for example, you're going to go no contact and she makes it all about her, she says, "What the f does that mean?" She steamrolls over your experience or your emotions. She makes it all about her. She tries to manipulate you with guilt. That is really valuable information about how to proceed. If you go no contact and she says, "I love you very much. I respect your decision. Please take as much space as you need. I'll be working on myself and I'm ready if you ever want to have contact again." That's helpful information too. Give it a shot.
Explain that to the parents.
yeah, so basically, and um again, I want to emphasize that the audience that this guy, first of all, the general audience of TikTok is younger. It's one of the younger social media platforms. And specifically, this guy has curated for himself an audience of younger people who are struggling, right, with what I believe are very real issues, right? Gender confusion, sexuality confusion. These are real issues that I have only compassion for young people struggling with. But this guy's curated that audience of younger people. And now what he's saying is he's encouraging them to sever the ties with with their parents, right? With their family, right? Think of every cult ever. What do? Well, they disconnect the cult member from their family, right? Because your family grounds you, right? Your family, they may not always like what you do, but ultimately, right? I mean, in healthy situations, obviously there's abuse and there's other things, but I think in the majority of situations, it's safe to say your family is gonna have your best interest more than a grown man who has the same sexual confusion that you may be going through. So I just the most concerning thing for me about this guy's content and just TikTok in general is this trend of separating kids from their parents and trying to put that wedge there.
I agree. If that kid, if that man or that whoever he is, Jeffrey Marsh, would ever, I have daughters, if he would ever try to contact my daughter, I would pursue the law to its furthest extent that I can. Because this guy is grooming kids. Why does this grown adult want to separate kids from their parents? There is no good reason to do that. Any healthy adult would want to have their kids have their parents as their best friend. to have a great relationship with their parents. And this goes to the attack of the family that we see in society today. In a previous episode where we talked about the paganism that's arising in the culture, one of the attacks that we see is destroying the nuclear family, which is why things like Black Lives Matter are wrong for society, because they try to destroy the nuclear family. That's why any sexual behavior outside of the nuclear family is wrong ultimately for society. And we did another episode on that when we talked about sex and culture. This man is not right. And what pains me is that we in society tolerate this. I'm not saying to harm this man physically, but if society was serious, he wouldn't be allowed to be grooming and going after children. You know, there's free speech, but yelling fire in a movie theater is never condoned. Going after kids, vulnerable children, is not right. Now, granted, if there's an actual fire in the movie theater, you have every right to yell fire, but you get the point. Going after people's kids is not normal adult behavior. It is grooming. It is dangerous.
And the other thing that I would say is, because there's a conversation that's starting to be had, right? And this is one of those things, right, where if you would have said this 5-10 years ago, they said, oh, you're just making a slippery slope fallacy. But it's happening now in certain academic circles where they're starting to reclassify pedophilia or pedophiles as minor attracted persons, MAPS. And what we're seeing is this kind of normalization of sexuality around young people and younger. And also, and the other thing I want to say based on what you said about society shouldn't tolerate this. Also, like primarily, obviously, we want to protect the kids. That should be society's primary, job. But also, it's not good for him for us to tolerate this kind of behavior, right? This kind of predatory behavior, right? Listen, when I watch this guy's videos, like outside of the anger that I feel about what he's doing to kids, I feel for this guy. I don't think this is someone who is mentally healthy, right? And so I don't, like, yes, I have anger for what he's doing to kids, but I don't have any animus to him personally, right? I think society has screwed him too, right? In other words, our society...
No pun intended.
Yeah. Our society has, since the sexual revolution, what we've done is basically we've taken away all the sexual mores. We've taken away, actually, I'll recommend to our audience, go and watch Ben Shapiro's episode where it's the one where the title says something about Andrew Tate and the sexual confusion, or something to that effect. You look it up, You'll see it on his podcast. And in there,
that was gross.
He talks about, yeah, it was very gross. Like that, maybe we'll have to do another podcast. Anyway, but basically what he says is, like, as a society, we've separated sex from its traditional teleology or purpose, right? And we did that to make us more liberated, but really all it's done is made us all more confused about what these roles are, particularly young people. So listen, I feel bad for Jeffrey Marsh. I think we should have a sane society which teaches like normal things and encourages healthy relationships and relationships with one's own self.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Look, I would protect my daughters from this guy to the nth degree, to whatever I can. But as an adult Christian, outside of the protection of my daughters, I would love to see him converted to a faith-saving relationship with Jesus Christ and abandoning this foolishness. He's not right mentally. And there is only two paths to go. He's either going to continue to get worse and more derelict to the point where he's going to find himself in jail for something. People who have this type of behavior do not stop. Well, let's just put it this way. I'm pretty sure he's probably doing illegal things. It's just a matter of when he gets caught. And it won't be easy for him in jail, I tell you that much. And so my desire for him is that he be converted. Anybody can be changed by the power of Jesus Christ. But as adults, as you say, we're not doing him any favor by allowing him to continue in this path unconfronted, unchallenged, and not put an end to what he's doing. Final words, Joey.
My final words would basically be just to the parents, like, I'm pleading with you, protect your kids' innocence, right? There's no reason for your kids to have TikTok, right? They don't need it, and there's nothing good on there. Maybe if you were a citizen of China, right, where the Chinese government only allows like educational stuff on there, but what they allow on ours is not educational. There's drug content, sex. Just protect your kids. That's all I'd say.
And I'll say with this, because as a parent, a lot of parents tell me that they need to communicate with their kids, and that's why they give them a phone. Well, one, you don't have to give them a smartphone. Two, you don't have to give them a phone at all. My daughters are going to get smartwatches, which can be independent of a phone. And if they need to call me, they can call me. If they need to text me, they can text me. What they cannot do on a smartwatch is surf the internet and get on Facebook and TikTok and Twitter and none of that. If it's just for emergencies and just to contact in case you're lost, all you need is a watch. And by the time they're old enough to get either, these watches are going to be so advanced that you're truly not going to need a phone. So protect your kids at all costs, because they are our future. And if you notice in society, the battle is not over adults, it's over children. And we have to protect them at all costs. Until next time, be blessed. And I hope this was a good public service announcement to the audience.